Hi, my name is Jason and I am the creator and principal writer for the Conservative Policy News blog. I started CPN 1 week before Thanksgiving 2009, so we are now pretty much at the 4-month anniversary. Since I've been getting consistent traffic, I consider this blog a success. So I've been recently looking for ways to make it more interesting and draw more people to it. So I thought that I would try to do some video, and hopefully this will be the first of many. Eventually I hope to move away from the talking head video and start doing investigative journalism. We'll see how that worked out. I've also started a YouTube site, and if you want to go there, I put the web address on the link on the side of the blog. This will probably be my first uploaded video, but I have created a number of playlists which you can browse that I hope are interesting, educational, and useful. My goal when I started the blog was to basically do more analysis of news stories that weren't being done in the mainstream media and in the conservative media, and to do historical and policy analysis, and in order to cut through all the talking points, the political language of our times. But I think my blog is starting to take. I mean, it's still basically what it started out to be, but I also see it as sort of an archaeological project. That means that through my blog I want to present evidence and data, the artifacts of current affairs that I collect that tend to not only rebuke the left's mischaracterization of conservatism and conservatives, but also to use this information to contribute to the process of developing a conservative counter-narrative that eventually becomes a true political project, and one that can be built upon despite the outcome of elections. In other words, I believe that mainstream conservatism in the United States today must become a cultural force and not just an electoral one. Just as liberals dream of utopia and spend their lives trying to create it, conservatives must also begin to express what kind of future they want to build, put in place a political program to get to that future, and have no reservations fighting for it. The conservative position on many issues in the contemporary debate, especially those on culture, has been obscured by academia and the liberal advocacy media, and as such remains unknown and unexplained to much of the public. That leaves an incredible opening for the left to attack the conservative movement and the right as irrelevant and obstructionist, merely haggard defenders of fading interests and outdated notions of governance that have no place in the bright future of the progressive tomorrow. So conservatives must understand the place their movement has, not only in the world of American politics, but also on the level of global politics. Conservatism must also confidently retake much of the cultural ground it feels it has lost to the left in the culture war. I believe that the ground is ripe for a renewal of great ideas, as most of the cultural production in this country, though done by the left, has become intellectually and spiritually bankrupt. And it has been that way ever since the boomers stopped taking LSD in the 60s. Today's neoconservatism, ostensibly the dominant ideology of America's mainstream conservatism, is also intellectually bankrupt, and must also be challenged from its right, lest the silent majority begin to fade from the scene, discouraged for that all of its striving, the conservative movement they have supported for so long could not deliver on the radical reform necessary to dismantle Leviathan. The conservative renewal, hopefully aided by archaeological projects like mine, small archaeological projects like mine is absolutely necessary today, because I think it has become obvious that the United States is presently being ruled by a hostile elite, which refuses to openly admit the true intentions and the scale of its political program. The cognoscenti, and that includes some mainstream Republicans, obviously despise conservatism, conservatives, and quite clearly wish that the movement become a footnote in history. In fact, I think that even though it has been limited to cable news and the blogosphere, and in some cases non-violent confrontations in the streets, the United States has been in the midst of a de facto civil war since Obama was elected. The left's brazen and dishonest attacks on the right and the attempt to neutralize its spokesman has exposed a hostile attitude that I think is well beyond typical politics. It is, in fact, a hostility that runs much deeper than anyone is comfortable talking about. The reason, I think, why progressive elites have been signaling civil war with an annihilative language against conservatism is because they want to move more quickly towards what I call the globalist project, which, to keep it short, essentially means the establishment of a non-democratic global governance system controlled by certified and approved of elites, and the restructuring of the global economy along the lines of corporatism, or a highly regulated, market-controlled, centrally planned system of economic relations spread worldwide. The idea that there is a global elite that is engaging in an occult and global political project has become so obvious that I am surprised when people are either shocked by this information or deny and denounce it. What is the European Union, after all, if not one of the most ambitious projects in progressive, intentionally transformative, Leviathan government in the history of mankind? In the book, The Great Deception, which I have here, the great English journalists Christopher Booker and Richard North attempt to record the history of the long campaign to integrate the reluctant and sovereign United Kingdom into the European Union. As the title suggests, the campaign consisted almost entirely of a multi-decadal propaganda effort on the part of the British elite, primarily its political class and the liberal advocacy media, to conceal the true nature of European integration from the British people. And what was it they were trying to conceal? Essentially, it was the fact that under the centralized European Union system of lawmaking, national parliaments become little more than debating societies, as the majority of domestic regulations are decreed in Brussels and then become practically immune from revocation by national political bodies and democratically elected leaders. Let me go to part 2. So look for part 2, because YouTube only allows you 10-minute long videos. So I'm going to stop this here, and I will continue in part 2. See you then.